It's 12:18 in the morning. You're riding with After Midnight. The city's quieter now, but never truly asleep. If you're out there driving, working, wandering, or just listening in the dark, you're not alone tonight. Lines are open. 555 KNIGHT. Tell me who's out there tonight.
Yeah, this is Eddie. Yellow cab, Manhattan,
Eddie, how long you been driving?
since 1962. And let me tell you something, Daktari. You don't just get a cab in this town. Back then, driving a taxi in New York wasn't just a job. It was a medallion. Little metal plate bolted right onto the hood, city-issued, limited number, hard to get, harder to keep. Some guys waited years to get one, some spent their life savings. Me? I lease from a fleet owner in Queens. Guy probably sleeps while I'm chasing headlights across Manhattan. But that medallion, that little number on the hood, that means something. You're inspected, metered, accountable, part of the bloodstream of the city. And let me tell you something, you lose that hack license. You ain't just out of work. You're out of New York.
What hours you run, Eddie?
4 in the afternoon to 7 in the morning, 6 days a week. The graveyard shift, 15 frigging hours watching the city change its personality. Afternoons easy. Businessmen with loosened ties, secretaries heading home. Tourists asking where Broadway is. But once midnight rolls around, that's when the real New York wakes up. 70% of my rides? Street hails. Arm in the air, somebody shouting, "Taxi!" like the night might swallow them whole if I don't stop. The other 30%? That's the night economy.
What kind of economy is that?
The kind most people pretend isn't there. Pimps. Small-time dealers. Lonely folks who just don't want to walk home by themselves. I see a lot of lonely souls, Daktari.
You ever get regular passengers?
Oh yeah, couple of 'em. First one's a guy calls himself Silk Raymond. Now that man, he's something. Wide brim hat, velvet collar coat, snakeskin shoes that shine like mirrors under the streetlights. First time he got in my cab, he leaned forward and said, "Driver, take me to the Warwick." Never Eddie, always driver. Like I'm part of the scenery. One night, I ask him, "Business good tonight, Silk?" He chuckles real slow. "Driver, business is always good when the city forgets its conscience." I look in the mirror and he's smiling like he knows every secret Manhattan's hiding. Couple blocks later he says, "You ever notice something, driver?" I say, "What's that?" He says, "Everybody thinks they're the hunter in this city. Truth is, most of them are just prey that don't know it yet." Then he taps the glass. "Right here's fine." Hands me a 20. Tells me, "Keep the change." And disappears into the Warwick Hotel like smoke.
Sounds like a character.
Oh, he is, but the other regular? He's different. Kid called Little Vic. Maybe 23. Skinny kid, hair slicked back, jacket 2 sizes too big like he's wearing somebody else's life. He always rides up front. Says he likes to see who's watching. One night he jumps in the cab on Delancey. "Eddie? Drive. Just drive." I say, "Where to?" He says, "Just go. I'll tell you." Kid keeps checking the rearview mirror, hands shaking. Finally he says, "Take the Williamsburg Bridge." So we're rolling over the bridge and the East River's black like ink beneath us. He looks out the window and says, "You ever think about leaving this place, Eddie?" I tell him sometimes. He says, "I'm thinking Arizona, somewhere quiet." Then he asks me something strange. "Eddie, you think Canada's far enough to disappear?" I say, "Kid, nowhere's far enough if the city's already inside you." He goes quiet after that. Tells me to drop him near the projects in Brooklyn. Before he gets out, he says, "You're a good man, Eddie." Then he disappears into the stairwell like the building swallowed him.
You ever see him again?
Sometimes. Sometimes not. That's the thing about the night crowd. People drift in and out like ghosts. But every night, around 3 in the morning, I stop at the same place. The Lexington Star Diner. 245 East 58th Street. Chrome walls glowing under neon lights. Windows fogged from coffee steam and cigarette smoke. Taxi drivers, night nurses, a couple insomniacs reading newspapers. But the real reason I go there? Nancy. She's been pouring coffee there since 1968. Blonde hair pinned up with 2 pencils, little gold necklace, walks the floor like she owns the joint. Soon as I walk in, she says, "Well, look who survived another night." Slides the coffee across the counter before I even sit down. Black coffee, no sugar, slice of pecan pie, sometimes a hamburger, if the night's been rough. One night, she looks at me and says, "So, Eddie, what did the city do tonight?" I tell her about Silk Raymond. She laughs. "Sounds like trouble in a velvet jacket." Then I tell her about Little Vic, asking if Canada's far enough to disappear. Nancy gets quiet for a second. Then she pours more coffee and says, "People always think leaving the city will fix things." I ask her if she ever thought about leaving. She shrugs. "Maybe once." Then she smiles and says, "But someone's got to keep the coffee hot for you cab drivers." We both laugh. Truth is, after a few years of those 3 a.m. coffees, you start looking forward to that hour. Maybe a little more than you should. One night, I finally tell her, "Nancy, I think this diner's the only peaceful place left in Manhattan." She wipes the counter and says, "No, Eddie, it's just the only place where people slow down long enough to breathe." We sit there quiet for a minute, coffee steaming, neon buzzing. Outside, a taxi horn echoes down Lexington Avenue, and for that 1 hour, New York ain't hungry anymore, it's just tired.
You ever scared out there, Eddie?
Nah, not scared, just aware. Meter's always running.
This is after midnight, where the city breathes different, after dark. If you're out there driving tonight, keep your eyes open, and if the night gets long, remember someone's always listening. Lines are still open, 555. Night. Before we close the lines tonight, a word about the man who keeps the lights on here at After Midnight. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Bradley W. Deacon, published Amazon author and the quiet sponsor behind this late-night frequency. Bradley's written more than 17 books across a range of series that explore everything from the shadows of the digital world to the quieter reflections of the human mind. If you like cybercrime thrillers, you'll want to look up The Digital Shadow Files, a series that steps deep into the world of hackers, investigations, and the invisible wars happening inside the networks that run our modern lives. If you're someone who prefers reflection over adrenaline, Bradley's photographic series, Within the Mind, pairs imagery with personal reflections on healing, recovery, and the quieter moments where people find themselves again. For readers who like honesty without the sugarcoating, there's Bradley's Real-Life No Bullshit series, straight-talking self-help for real life. No slogans, no gurus, just practical thinking from someone who's walked a few difficult roads himself. And if the night has little ones listening somewhere out there, there's a Little Outback series, gentle Australian children's stories inspired by the spirit of the classic 1970s Little Golden Books. But Bradley's work doesn't end with books. He's also the founder of the online learning community Vietnam Live Better for Less, a free school community built for people who want to live well in Vietnam, with clarity, confidence, and support. Inside the community, you'll find more than 10 classrooms covering everything from PTSD recovery strategies to AI prompt writing, to building passive income streams for digital nomads and retirees looking for a slower, steadier way of life. If that sounds like a road you might want to walk, you can find the community online under Vietnam Live Better for Less. Books, stories, communities, all from Bradley W. Deacon, and from all of us here at After Midnight. We thank him for keeping the signal alive. Now, if you're still awake out there, the lines are still open. 555. Night.